Welcome to the mock CMMC Solution Demo Series. I am Derrich Phillips, founder of Aspire Cyber and a lead CMMC certified assessor. Today I am super excited because we are taking you behind the scenes for a mock demo with one of the most trusted names in defense compliance, PreVeil. Soon I'll be joined by Blatt, Enterprise Account Executive at PreVeil. PreVeil is a military-grade encrypted email and file sharing solution trusted by over 2,000 defense contractors worldwide. It's famously known for being easy to use, deploys in hours, and PreVeil positions its solutions as an affordable alternative to Microsoft GCC Hive. Our goal with this session is simple: to help you make informed decisions as you evaluate CMMC solutions. I'll be stepping into the role of a small business owner who has just started their CMMC compliance journey. I'll ask the questions you need answers to. Questions about CUI handling, CMMC compliance, and of course, costs. By the end of this mock demo, you will have a clear, foundational understanding of PreVeil solutions and how they can help your organization satisfy its CMMC compliance. Remember, when it comes to navigating CMMC, you don't have to go at it alone. Aspire Cyber can help accelerate your CMMC compliance journey. Let's dive into the demo. Hi, Zach. I'm glad you had time today to give me a demo of PreVeil. I've been hearing a lot of good things about PreVeil. I saw a recent marketing email saying that you all have over 50 clients since I got in their CMMC Level 2 certification. I'm the president and founder of Aspire Cyber, and we are looking to get into the defense space and know that we're going to have to get CMMC Level 2 certified. Check out PreVeil.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for your time today. I look forward to showing you around. And I always like to get started just by learning a little bit more about your organization and, of course, anything in particular that might have piqued your interest in PreVeil.
Sure. So we provide cybersecurity compliance services, and we are an approved training provider, so we can deliver the CMMC certification training for the CCP and CCA. And we anticipate bidding on Department of War solicitations that probably going to fall more into that training under that umbrella, and likely we will be handling CUI and essentially military members' personal information, contact information. So we'll need to secure that in looking at enclave solutions. We don't want to have that information on our commercial network. Currently use Google Workspace, and the Workspace is FedRAMP High, but we want to kind of have it all in enclave, separate from our commercial network.
Excellent. Well, you've come to the right place, right? And that's exactly what PreVeil aims to provide. So in the simplest terms, right, PreVeil is a secure, encrypted, compliant mail, file storage, and file sharing enclave, right?
Okay.
And the way that PreVeil operates is we operate right alongside the commercial environment that you have in place today. Okay. So the goal here is not to come in and replace or overhaul or migrate you away from your current systems, right? Even on the mail file storage side, right, you'll still be able to retain the commercial email file storage environment you have in place at the moment, and PreVeil will come in and supplement that non-compliant commercial environment, right, by establishing essentially a secure enclave that runs in parallel. Okay. But the goal here is not to come in and completely overhaul or migrate you away from the tools you know and love today. Okay.
Yeah, that's reassuring. I've heard some nightmare stories from those migrations. Pretty expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that's a real advantage here with this supplemental enclave approach is many organizations in the defense industrial base have a subset of employees that are handling sensitive data like CUI, right? We work with hundreds of customers that might have, let's say 500 employees company-wide, but they have a group of 10 individuals that handle CUI. The process of migrating the entire business, right, away from the commercial environment into the gov community environment, we'll call it, for all 500 employees just wouldn't make a lot of sense in that situation, right? So PreVeil enables you to provision our environment, our platform, only for the users that handle CUI or ITAR.
Okay.
And what that does, of course, is it enables you to reduce the size, the scope, the costs associated with your compliance boundary, and makes the whole compliance process a lot simpler.
Wow, that's good news, because I was speaking to a consultant last week, and they told me that essentially basically all of our employees would have to be on CMMC compliant system regardless if they're handling CUI or not. They're saying that our whole network had to be in scope. And now I think about it, they likely had some ulterior motives, probably trying to sell me some solutions or upsell me. That's good to know.
We see that misconception all the time, and I think you're right. In many cases, it may be confusion, but also, we do see a lot of organizations pitching that kind of full scale migration.
Right.
There are certainly benefits to that in certain situations, but oftentimes it is wanting to kind of increase the cost and complexity in order to sell their own services. But it's really important to understand that these requirements, as far as the CMMC controls, those go so far as the sensitive data goes. So if you can clearly say, hey, I have 10 employees, 5 of them handle CUI, those 5 individuals are the compliance boundary. That's who will be assessed, right? Anyone who doesn't deal with sensitive data like CUI, they're outside the scope of that compliance boundary. The requirements do not apply.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm sure that'd be a lot more cost effective and less of an administration burden from a compliance standpoint.
Absolutely. So what I'd like to do is I'm just going to share out my screen here, and
Okay.
I will show you through a few slides that I think are really helpful in kind of better understanding the scope of what we offer.
Okay.
Won't kill you with a PowerPoint here. And I like to keep it as conversational as possible. So if you have any questions or concerns that are popping up, please don't hesitate to let me know. Don't feel like you're interrupting me.
Okay.
After we go through just a few slides, we'll jump into a little bit of a demo of what the platform actually looks like in action, if that sounds okay.
Sounds good.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes. And you can't go on full screen if you want.
How's that?
And you can click off that. Just click hide for that. Stop sharing. Yeah. There we go. All right. Yes, I can see it, and it helps because I'm a visual person. So yeah, forward to slides.
Right. So this slide's really designed to just show kind of the 3 major components of the PreVeil offering. Now, the first, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit already, but when you boil down to what PreVeil to the simplest terms, right? Secure, encrypted mail file storage, file sharing platform. We know that. Okay. We know that it supplements the non-compliant commercial mail file storage environment. A couple of other things to note about the platform is the goal here is really to keep users within the workflows that they're used to as much as possible. Okay. We're not attempting to reinvent the wheel here with mail, file storage, and file sharing. So we integrate directly. I know you said earlier, you mentioned Gmail. We have a direct integration with Gmail. So you'll be able to access your secure PreVeil mail environment right alongside that commercial Gmail.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
We also, for any Outlook users, integrate with Outlook using an Outlook add-in. On the Drive side, we integrate with both Windows File Explorer and Mac Finder. So it works very much like a Dropbox or a OneDrive, for example. So again, even though behind the scenes, the PreVeil platform really represents a wholly separate parallel enclave, we give you the ability to access that environment within some of the same tools that you're working out of. Now, the second component of our offering actually comes on the compliance documentation side. And we generally find that the documentation component of this requirement, especially for smaller and medium-sized organizations, is certainly the most time-consuming, usually the most difficult part of this process by a pretty good margin. And for good reason, right? It's hundreds, if not thousands in some cases, pages of required documentation. That's, what essentially the entire assessment is based off of, right? It is confirming your compliance posture through the various forms of documentation like system security plan, policies and procedures, shared responsibility matrices, system artifacts. The list goes on. Now, this is one of our real differentiators. It's a very unique offering for a mail and file storage system. But when we recognized very early on that the documentation was probably the biggest challenge for our customers during their process, the light bulb sort of went off and we said, hey, look, well, we know exactly what PreVeil at least is doing to provide support for these various controls. So why don't we take a bundle of all the required components of documentation and help our customers by filling in everything we know we can for them with the simple knowledge that they have PreVeil in place. So this really is meant to serve as a foundation for the compliance documentation that can be built off of and customize with your own unique company-specific information.
Okay. So as a PreVeil client, I wouldn't be starting from scratch, a blank piece of paper to build out all this documentation.
Exactly right. And here's a little bit of an example. So you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I have up on the screen here is our system security plan that comes along with this compliance accelerator package. And again, this is just one of many components of documentation we provide, but the SSP is the overarching compliance document, I would argue, that sort of lays out the 110 controls or requirements and shows what your company is specifically doing to meet them. And you'll see right from the start, we give you all the space to customize and add in your own unique information. But as I scroll down into the first controls here, you'll notice that everything, again, that we know we're able to write for you with the knowledge that you have the PreVeil platform implemented, that's what you're seeing here documented in the plain non-bolded text. And again, as I scroll through, you'll notice that any elements of customer information is where you're seeing the highlighted yellow or the bolded items here.
Okay.
Now, this is where a partner may be instrumental in helping to kind of customize and complete the documentation foundation that we provide, right? So we have an excellent network of partners, Aspire Cyber included. And that actually brings me to the third component of our offering, which is our partner network. And this is comprised of managed service providers, consultants, even C3PAO assessors themselves. So
Right.
you ultimately reach the point of being prepared for that third-party assessment. We're connected with a large number of authorized C3PAOs that we recommend to our customers to go get assessed by a partner that is familiar with PreVeil, knows our documentation inside and out, has assessed PreVeil customers, and that's going to lead to a much smoother, efficient assessment process. Also note, we just hit our 50th successful C3PAO assessment, so we now have 50 customers that are CMMC Level 2 certified.
Oh, congratulations. That's a big deal. And in regards to that network, I always say that CMMC and compliance is a team sport. So I think that's a
Absolutely
good value add to PreVeil customers to have that networking community. Last year, we had a client that we were helping them interview C3PAOs, and one of the C3PAOs that they wanted to go with pretty much told them that they were not familiar with PreVeil enough to take on that assessment. So being able to directly leverage your community of C3PAOs, they're able to save that client that time and hassle of kind of vetting C3PAOs that are maybe not be familiar with PreVeil.
Absolutely. And one interesting point here is we've actually, I believe 3 of those customers that have scored perfect 110s at this point actually did, for one reason or another, work with a C3PAO that was not in our partner program. And they actually all scored perfect 110s on their first attempt. So it can be done, but we always, again, recommend working with one of our friendly C3PAO partners.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Just want to take one step back to the documentation. Obviously, when I show you through the SSP here, you're seeing that, the final kind of delivery system is just simple Word and Excel documents. But as part of the accelerator, you do get access to this online compliance knowledge base that I'm showing here. And essentially what we've done is we've organized all the documentation content into a series of courses that you're seeing here that really take you through the process of kind of how to most efficiently work through the documentation process. And, you'll see it starts with things as simple as scoping the compliance boundary. And if I select a particular step in the course, you'll notice each step includes video guidance from our compliance team. There's several elements of kind of course training materials in here available for additional handholding. And then you have the actual documentation itself associated with that step in the course down here for customization. One really nice addition, fairly recent addition to this documentation package, and actually sort of a crazy idea, but what we did is we actually created a fictitious defense industrial base company. We wrote complete compliance documentation for this fictitious company.
Wow.
For, of course, even items outside the scope of PreVeil. We had an authorized C3PAO assessor come in and assess this fictitious company, and they certified us, or them, right? The Acme Corporation, as we call it, at a perfect 110. We have now uploaded all of that complete documentation used in that real C3PAO assessment right into the accelerator so that our customers now have a proven example to reference.
That's invaluable because with CMMC, there's not a lot of examples out there, especially like to the comprehensive level, to be able to have an example to see, okay, what does MET look like? What does compliance look like? That's been pretty much stamped by a C3PO for that fictitious organization. I see the value there. That could easily save hundreds of hours of trying to figure it out or going in the wrong direction. The requirements.
Exactly right. Exactly right. One more slide, and then we'll jump into a little bit more of a platform demo for you.
Sounds good.
All right. Now, this slide kind of seeks to show what's happening behind the scenes with this whole enclave approach. And if you take this rectangle over here on the left side of the screen, this is meant to represent the endpoint. Okay. So think laptop or desktop computer, right? Maybe a mobile device. The device itself that's processing the sensitive data. Okay.
Right.
Now, today you mentioned you're using Google Workspace, right? So
yes,
email flowing through Gmail, files you've got saved in, Google Docs, Google Drive, that data is going out to the non-compliant Google Workspace commercial cloud, we'll call it.
Right.
Same goes for those on commercial 365, right? Data flowing through Outlook, OneDrive, etc., going out to that non-compliant 365 commercial cloud. Now, again, even after PreVeil is implemented, we leave that environment in place exactly as it was before implementing. When PreVeil is implemented, however, now we have, again, that parallel environment that we discussed earlier in the call. And we integrate PreVeil right into Outlook. We integrate into Gmail, Explorer, Mac Finder, but all the data that's being stored and sent out of the PreVeil side of the house will travel through our cryptography and go out to be stored fully encrypted on the AWS GovCloud instead of that non-compliant commercial server.
Got it.
Now, one other thing you'll notice here is we actually are able to carry over your standard work email address as your PreVeil ID. Think of it as your PreVeil username. The way we're able to do this is PreVeil on the mail side, as you'll see in a second, although it looks and feels like an email system, it's really an end-to-end encrypted, out-of-band, secure messaging system that we just make look and feel like standard email.
Okay.
Now, this is really important because in some cases, when our customers are needing to send data further through the supply chain, right, we have some customers that might have to send CUI to a third-party organization that is a supplier of theirs or a partner of theirs or whomever it may be. And the requirements dictate that in a situation like that, it's our customer's responsibility to be able to deliver sensitive data via mail or a drive share securely, right? So
right.
We can't have CUI data that you're sending out arriving in some non-compliant email environment on the receiving end. Because we uphold true end-to-end encryption, that means that anytime something is sent out of a PreVeil environment, it also needs to be received in a secure PreVeil mail environment on the receiving end. And you might say, well, okay, but my customer isn't a PreVeil customer, right? Or my partner isn't a PreVeil customer. So how are they going to receive if they don't have a PreVeil account? Well, we offer completely free accounts for third parties that you work with. They're free for both yourselves and free for the third party. It's a one-time account creation process that takes about a minute. So it can't get much easier. And there's no software download required for the third-party users. It's completely browser-based for your third-party recipient. So after about a 1-minute account creation on their end and no cost to either side, now the third parties that you work with have their very own PreVeil environment where they can receive mail, send back mail, access shared folders, upload data to shared folders, etc.
Yeah, that seems like a seamless process.
Absolutely. Any questions before we jump into some?
Yeah, I'm ready to jump into the demo. I'm sure I have some questions following the demo.
All right. Let me pop open. I like to start off with our Gmail integration.
Okay.
I clicked the wrong bookmark there. Here we go. Let me just log in for us. All right. So first thing you'll notice is when I open Gmail, it's going to look exactly as it looks for you today, right? But you'll notice right below all my standard commercial Gmail folders, I have my PreVeil mail environment. So where I click down here, now I'm in my secure inbox. And this is where I can find all my secure PreVeil mail messages.
All those messages are encrypted in the end.
And when I go to compose a new message from the PreVeil side of the house, you'll see that encryption is toggled on here, right? We'll assume that you want that message being sent encrypted. Same goes for if you reply to any of the mail messages in your PreVeil mailbox here.
Okay.
Now, you'll notice if I go to send to a colleague of mine or a third party that already has an account, you'll notice that little orange bar pops up. That indicates that the recipient is an active PreVeil user. Again, whether they're internal or a third. When I go to send to a third party that may not already have an account, we'll let you know right away using the gray bar and this little notification here, just informing you that that individual will be receiving an invitation to create an account.
Right. And then once they create their account, they can access the rest.
Exactly. So when you press send here, they're not going to receive that secure message. They'll receive an email invitation to create their account. Again, after that 1 minute account creation, they'll then receive the secure message. One other thing I like to show in here is, even if you're in the commercial compose window, I can actually toggle on encryption with one click. And now this is a PreVeil mail message.
That's seamless. And I know in the slides you previously had up where you showed that the emails were the same, something that I know using other solutions, for example, like GCC High, you have to have a different email. That can be a pain point for a lot of organizations.
Absolutely.
You have to keep the same email and also access to secure messages within your existing commercial inbox. That helps.
Yep. And I always like to show as well that you can always access PreVeil Mail from a portal environment of your own. So you don't have to go through Gmail or Outlook to access PreVeil. You can always pop open your Gov community portal and access both mail and drive.
And so we looked at the mail and the messages. So how does the drive work?
Great segue. So I'm on a Windows device. Here I am in File Explorer. Again, this works the same way with Mac Finder. But you'll notice here when I pop open File Explorer, I have a PreVeil Drive environment right here in Explorer. And again, it's very similar to a OneDrive or a Dropbox if you're familiar with those solutions. But behind the scenes, all the data I'm storing in these folders is going out to the AWS GovCloud fully encrypted. So I can create a folder just like I would with any other folder in File Explorer. I can then go ahead and start storing some data in here. No file size restrictions, no file format restrictions, 10 terabytes of GovCloud storage. Okay.
It's hard to fill that up.
Yes. Yeah. And remember too, it's just your, CUI, ITAR data going towards that limit, not all the data within the company. Now, when I pop back open my portal, go over to Drive, there's that folder I just created. And now if I want to share this out, I can go ahead and again, I can start adding colleagues or third parties that have accounts. I can invite, new third parties to create an account. I can apply a variety of different levels of sharing permissions, ranging from full ownership privileges with an edit and share, all the way down to a very restrictive view only, which literally just allows for a viewing of the contents in the folder in this portal environment here. So nothing can be edited, shared. Can't download anything out of PreVeil. Exactly. You can't even copy and paste or print with a view only.
All right.
And then we have a few in between. We also give you the ability to apply expiration dates to shared folders. So you can set up folder access to expire.
That's useful.
Any questions on, mail or drive at the moment?
So far, so good. Pretty straightforward.
All right, moving on to the last component of the solution here, the admin portal. Okay. And like the rest of the system, this is very straightforward to use, to manage. It doesn't require really any active admin management to keep PreVeil going. It's more for certain tasks like adding users, for example, which you can do right from the administrative portal. Or let's say a user informs you they've lost their laptop or mobile device that has PreVeil on it. An admin can come in here and delete PreVeil and the data from that device entirely, or you can temporarily lock down access to the PreVeil environments on that device and unlock if the device happens to be recovered. We also give you some nice security features in here, like trusted community, for example, which you'll see can be toggled on and off. If toggled on, this essentially restricts communications to only those identified as members of your trusted community. So what you're able to do here is create a list of either trusted domains, or if you really want to get more granular, individual PreVeil IDs or email addresses that you trust your users to communicate with, and it will automatically prohibit communications with anyone outside of the trusted community, both incoming and out.
Okay. So would this fall into like the blacklisting category?
Yeah, essentially.
I said another layer of security. I like it.
Exactly. Now, final piece I'm going to cover for today comes on the logging side. We have a couple of different types of logging capabilities in PreVeil. The one you see here is more high level activity being conducted throughout the user base. And you'll notice, you can drill into certain time periods, certain users, and certain types of content as well. So no decrypted data available in here, but gives you the ability to sort of keep an eye on things. Now, to meet the DFAR 7012 C through G requirement for incident reporting and media preservation, we have a data export tool that enables you to download decrypted copies of data, again, from certain users, certain types of data, ranging all the way down to full access control log reports and certain date ranges as well here. All right, let me pause here as I know we've covered a lot of ground in a short period of time. So let me use this moment to take any outstanding questions, concerns.
Sure. Overall, I think the tool is straightforward. It's I like the fact that it doesn't disrupt the normal business operations. It integrates into the existing email and system. So that is a big plus. I know one area though regarding the actual endpoints that access PreVeil. So I know that can be potentially a challenge, ensuring that they're configured to the CMMC requirements. Can you speak to what you've seen some of your customers do in terms of lessen that burden or creative ways they approach what devices access PreVeil?
Yeah. So I will note, some of our customers might choose to run PreVeil in a VDI environment to essentially take the endpoints out of scope. 95% of our customers say, hey, there are endpoint requirements, right? The endpoints are in scope to sort of protect the device outside of PreVeil, but they're relatively basic, right? Oftentimes the endpoint requirements are the more kind of cyber hygiene type requirements associated with CMMC. And most decide that it's something that they can take on fairly easily, right? And the nice part about that accelerator that I mentioned earlier is it comes with tons of guidance on how to harden the endpoints, right? So the customer is not on their own in figuring out what they need to do. In fact, I've pulled up on the screen here, as you'll see, an endpoint guide, right? Configuration guide. And here we kind of do a high level overview of what's required on the endpoints. Again, it's relatively basic, right? A lot of kind of standard Microsoft solutions fit the bill here, but we give you literally step by step everything that needs to be enabled, disabled, etc. on the endpoint. So we generally find that folks don't struggle too much with keeping the endpoints in scope and meeting the requirements, but some, depending on budget, might decide to simply run PreVeil in a VDI to avoid that altogether.
Yes. One of our clients that we supported their CMMC readiness, they are a PreVeil customer, and they did take that approach. They accessed it via virtual desktop and took their endpoints out of scope, and they passed perfect 110 first go. The certification assessment.
Yeah, there's no doubt the VDI can really simplify things and be sort of an easy button in a lot of cases.
Yeah. But I would say what I'm really impressed by based on this demo and then also having a history with PreVeil and supporting many of your clients is the hands-on approach that PreVeil takes. Not, hey, purchase our solution and you're on your own, good luck. We all do have a lot of additional resources that are supplementary to the solution itself as far as the customer service and response. Whenever you're reaching out to your team or compliance team, it's always a fast response. I think really separates PreVeil from a lot of other solution providers.
It's our aim, certainly. I appreciate it.
Really impressed by the demo. If Aspire Cyber decides to become a PreVeil customer, what will be the next steps? How will we go about doing it?
Yeah, great question. It's very straightforward. We'll, provide a formal quote for you and get that signed off on. Once we have your formal quote signed, we will introduce you to your customer success manager, who's kind of your point of contact here for really anything you need from the PreVeil side. They'll schedule you for a 1-hour onboarding implementation session with our technical support team held over Zoom or Teams. And at the conclusion of that session, you are operational with the platform. So yeah, it's very straightforward in terms of getting up and running.
Yeah. All right. I like easy. That was good. Well, fantastic, Zach. Really appreciate your time today. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about PreVeil and just wanted to see what's under the hood. So I absolutely should provide that demo and looking forward to getting that that quote, ultimately moving forward with PreVeil, it'll be the right solution for Aspire Cyber.
Well, we'd love to have the opportunity to support you all. So thank you so much for the time today. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope to get you started soon.
Awesome. That concludes our mock demo with PreVeil. I hope that this session gave you the clarity you need on how their encrypted email and file sharing solution can significantly simplify your CMMC compliance requirements. Now, for your next steps, I want to let you know that Aspire Cyber is an authorized PreVeil reseller. We believe in offering our clients the best, most practical solutions, and PreVeil certainly meets that standard. Because we know the CMMC assessment process and PreVeil solution intimately, we can seamlessly integrate it into your overall compliance strategy, ensuring that you satisfy those critical CMMC requirements. If you're ready to learn more about PreVeil and see a custom demo tailored specifically to your organization, or if you need comprehensive CMMC readiness support, reach out to us directly to get started. You can visit aspirecyber.com. We are ready to help you accelerate your compliance journey today. Thanks for tuning in to the mock CMMC demo series. We'll see you next time. And remember, when it comes to navigating CMMC, you don't have to go at it alone.